This is Stan Monteith. I'm from Santa Cruz, California, and you're watching the Reality Report.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Reality Report on Freedom.tv. I'm Gary Franchi. That's right, this is Reality Report number 30, the big 3-0, and you're celebrating it with us. It's great to be back on the show. I want to first send a shout out to all of the people who are keeping the show alive by supporting our efforts with your donations and by sharing the links with your family and friends, and to those who are airing us on your local public access stations. And to the hundreds of viewers who replied to our request for topics and issues that you want us to report on. Your feedback was absolutely wonderful to read. All right, now, are you ready to buckle in and fly naked? On tonight's show, we take a closer look at the Obama administration's plan to put virtual strip search body scanners in 50% of the U.S. airports. Yeah, not really looking forward to that. Is it illegal to film the police making an arrest on a public street? One Boston man did and wound up in jail. We're going to take a look at that story. And let's hear it for Virginia. We've got the details on how they plan to fight the health care bill and how you can too. Also, we've got a feature story on the Articles of Freedom, the citizens' peaceful remedy to restore constitutional government. Plus, there is an extension in the works for the banks to repay last year's bailout debt. Can you guess who's going to pay it back? I wonder. We also have an exclusive interview clip from the film Don't Tread on Me with Oklahoma State Representative Charles Key. And in a video you won't want to miss, Tiny Tim Geithner gets captured. Yeah, you wait till you guys see this. Plus, we've got an exclusive footage clip from the William Lewis burglary. That's right. And our first segment from my trip to Washington, D.C. to investigate a biometrics industry conference that was crawling with feds. That's right. We checked out some hardware that may just soon find a home at your local police department. All that and more after a quick break.
My name is Marcy Brooks, and I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Hi, I'm Joe Bannister.
I'm Ed Griffin from Southern California.
I'm Ron Paul. This is Tom Mullen from Tampa, Florida.
I'm Colonel Bob Bowman from Melbourne, Florida.
I'm Jordan Page. I'm from Annapolis, Maryland.
I'm Thomas Woods from Auburn, Alabama.
I'm Ernest Hancock from Phoenix, Arizona.
I'm Mark Sibilia from Buffalo, New York.
I'm Charles Goyette.
And you're watching.
And you're watching.
And you are watching.
And you're watching.
And you're watching.
And you're watching.
And you're watching. And you're watching.
And you're watching.
Freedom.
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 Freedom. Freedom.
Freedom.
You're watching Freedom.tv.
Americans, mobilize. Stand together, stand tall. Tell the government you're mad as hell. No longer cooperate with the government. Do not accept the national ID card. Do everything in your power to restore freedom and your individuality back to America. Stop being a country run by the institutions for the institutions. Let's go back to we the people, by the people, for the people, as opposed to we the institution, by the institution, for the institution. Stand up for your individual rights. Stand up for the godliness that's in each and every one of us.
Welcome back to the Reality Report, your home for independent news unspoiled from corporate influence. That's right. Are you ready to fly the naked skies? Ugh. I really don't like this idea. Now, in a decision that has civil liberties defenders fuming, the Obama administration announced Tuesday plans to invest $215 million on virtual strip search body scanners at U.S. airports. The plan calls for purchasing 500 scanners, which combined with the 450 already being acquired this year, puts the devices in nearly 50% of U.S. airports, allowing the terrorists access to the other 50%. But opponents of the device say it provides an illegal virtual strip search and is a clear violation of constitutional rights. But the biggest issue here lies in the hands of who will have access to the equipment. That's right, the boys in blue with the little badges that go through all of your stuff at the airport. Yes, those pesky critters making about $6 an hour? The Transportation Security Administration. Yep, the same TSA that planted a small bag of white powder in a 22-year-old college student's purse before telling her that they were just kidding. This is the same TSA that recently suspended a 53-year-old employee for asking a 13-year-old girl to become his, plug your ears, sex slave. Yes, these people have the power to demand a virtual strip search so you can fly. Here's an idea. Next time you show up at the airport, save the government some money and just arrive naked. Unbelievable what's coming down the line here, but it's up to us to make a difference and fight these crazy ideas. Now, are you watching The Watchers? Boston resident Simon Glick was arrested for recording a cell phone video of another man getting arrested on a public street. Now, the American Civil Liberties Union of Massachusetts is stepping up to help. They have filed a civil rights lawsuit against the 3 Boston police officers who arrested Glick for violating the state's wiretapping law back in 2007. The law outlaws secret audio recordings, but this took place in a public street without even being taped off. Although the criminal suit was dismissed, Glick and Civil Liberties Union are contending that his First Amendment right to free speech and his Fourth Amendment right to freedom of arrest without probable cause were violated that night in 2007. The president of the Boston Police Patrolmen's Association argues that as police officers, we are entitled to the same rights as every citizen, to be free from surreptitious recording of our voices. Under the Massachusetts law, all people, citizens, and authorities alike must consent to have their voices recorded unless, like Glick and the officers, they're in a public place. If you're ever confronted by the police for filming on the street, make sure you bring up the 1975 case of Mark versus King. If you're not sure what it is, go ahead and look it up. Now, Virginia could be the next state to prohibit Obama's health care reform proposal. Last year, Arizona was the first state to approve a similar amendment. Almost 30 states in the U.S. have comparable bills that have been introduced by lawmakers since President Obama proposed these changes. The bill in Virginia states that it would not allow employers or governments to require their employees to get health care coverage or pay a fine if they didn't have it. Charles Colgan, Senate Finance Committee Chairman, doesn't think the government has the right to dictate whether a person should have health insurance or not. We talk about being a free country. Let's be free, he said. Another supporter, Senator Frederick Quayle, says it's a bill that attempts to reinforce the Constitution of the United States. Wow, it's about time we hear these words come out of legislators' mouths. Virginia's Tea Party movement were also advocates of the bills whose number are SB 283, SB 311, and SB 417. We spoke with Mary Corving, a legislative assistant for Senator Quayle, and she confirmed that SB 283 will now go to the Committee of Commerce and Labor for approval, then to the floor of the House for a vote, where it is anticipated it will pass. We also spoke with Stacey Johnson Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell's press secretary, and she released this quote: "Like them, the Virginia Senate, I oppose these broad, costly federal mandates that undermine the ability of Virginians to create more access at less cost." That was the governor of Virginia. Now, do you want to fight against the health care bill? Then take notes on what Virginia and Arizona have done. Find the companion bill in your state or copy the bill's text and send it to your state legislative body. If you want to restore the republic, then you need to operate at the state level.